Good morning, sir. You're Herbert Kane. And Mr. Kane is charged with assault on a peace officer. And Ms. Prazo, what's the announcement?
Your Honor, we would like a trial.
And so it looks like the last plea bargain rejection was a 5-year offer. Has anything changed with any negotiations?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So, Mr. Kane, go ahead.
Question, since I went ahead and set out the extra time, I looked at the parole date.
What?
I said, since I went ahead and set out the extra time, because you told me last time I was looking for parole. I'm just trying to get in school. I'm trying to finish my education.
I don't have anything to do with your parole date. So if you want to take that deal, today's the day to do it, because after today, I won't accept any plea agreements. You will get credit for any time that you've been in custody on this case. But as far as when you might parole or anything like that, I have no idea.
I know I could beat the case. I just didn't want to.
So here's the thing. Either you're guilty or you're not guilty. If you did it, then you might want to talk to your attorney about entering a plea. If you didn't do it and you want to go to trial, then that's what we'll get your case set for. It's no big deal. Either way, it's up to you.
No, it's really about time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was enrolled in school, in aviation school, so I really wasn't attempting to waste my time. As a veteran, I actually feel like, you know what I'm saying, I saw a police officer absurd. I'm not stupid enough to make that type of decision.
Either you did it or you didn't do it. Either you want to go to trial or you don't want to go to trial. I don't know the facts of the case. Your attorney knows the facts. Mr. Nichols knows the facts. He's made an offer of 5 years. If you want to take the offer, take it today. If you don't, we'll set your case for trial and the jury can decide.
That's what I was asking about parole.
I have nothing to do with parole. Parole is up to the prison authorities. So once you get your time, if you take time with the deal, or if you get found guilty and the jury gives you time, you go to prison, you get processed, and then they set a possible parole date and there's hearings on that. And I have zero to do with that. You're eligible for parole. Eligibility would be a quarter. So after you did a quarter of your time, you would be eligible for parole. Eligibility does not mean you're going to get it. It just means you're eligible. So after a quarter, whatever the math is, did we talk about this before?
I don't believe we have, Your Honor.
So whatever a quarter of 5 is, which is a year and a quarter.
1 year and 3 months.
Right. So a year and a quarter. So after a year and 3 months, you would be eligible for parole. Then parole authorities decide, do you get it and get out on parole or do you not? It depends how you've been acting in prison and all kinds of things. You know what I mean? So I have no idea. All I know is when you would become eligible. Make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So what do you want to do? Do you want to plead guilty and take the deal, or are you not guilty and you want to go to trial? No, we're not. You're not going to have a conversation with Mr. Nichols. You can talk with Ms. Barrazo. Ms. Barrazo will talk with Mr. Nichols, but we're not up here to negotiate and all of that.
Okay, Ms. Barrazo.
Okay, y'all go visit the back. I'll hold the case. See if there's anything else. You had an opportunity to visit with Ms. Barrazo. So what do you want to do? Do you want to go to trial or do you want to enter a plea of guilty for the agreement that they've offered you?
I have already spoken with the prosecutor, but I was talking to you and I just need you to make a decision. I don't know what else to tell you. Other than what I told you.
So Ms. Barrazo, it sounds like she's told you everything that she has discussed with Mr. Nichols. The offer is what the offer is. Either you take it or you leave it. It doesn't matter. If you're not guilty, that's what juries are for. If you want to take the deal, then you take the deal today.
I understand what you're saying. I don't feel like, you know what I'm saying,
Okay, then let a jury decide what to do. Okay, so I mean, the offer is what the offer is, right, Mr. Nichols? So it's either the 5 years and you plead guilty, or you let a jury decide if you're guilty or not. And then if they find you guilty, you can leave your punishment up to them. If you are found guilty, the range of punishment, and I know Ms. Barrazo's gone over this, is between 2 years and up to 20 years. No, I'm not trying to talk you into doing anything today. If you think you didn't do this or you didn't do this, then go to trial. if you've looked at the information with Ms. Perazzo and there's evidence that you did what they're saying you did, then you need to think about taking a deal. That's it. No one is trying to talk you into anything. The deal's not going to
Are
change.
you aware of the next court date, the next trial date?
No, I don't know when the trial date will be right now. It'll be whenever the next available trial date is. We are not backed up on trials in this court, so it will get taken care of as quickly as we can.
I'll be capable of actually like coming back to fight the case whether I sit the whole entire 5 years out or not.
No. Either you take a deal and you plead guilty and you do the 5 years or however much of it you have to do and then get paroled out, or you let a jury decide. You don't get to change your mind later. If you plead guilty
I
today,
mean, like expungement from my record.
no, if you plead guilty and you get if you plead guilty,
That's not a job. That's what it's really about.
if you either plead guilty today or if you get found guilty by a jury, you will have a felony conviction on your record. Felony convictions are not allowed to be expunged. The only way something gets expunged off your record is if the state dismisses it and said, oops, we had the wrong person. It was just a wrong arrest. So, or if a jury says he did not do it and they find you not guilty.
So I would be capable like whether I plead guilty or not. You know what I'm saying? To come back like after and be able to fight the case.
Come back after what?
After 70 time.
No. Absolutely not. When the case is over, the case is over. Either you plead guilty and you're found guilty, or you go to a jury, and when the jury's done, it's either not guilty and you go on about your life, or it's guilty and they give you some amount of time in prison and the case is over, no matter what happens. You don't get to come back later and, I mean, there's appeals and things like that, but you're not going to come back to court and try to fight something. You understand?
Yeah, elaborate.
Huh?
Elaborate.
Well, I'm not sure how much more to elaborate because I feel like I've explained it. I have no doubt that Ms. Perazzo has explained it. What part of this do you not understand?
Well, first I asked like, would I be eligible to actually be out time served parole?
And I already explained to you about parole, right? We already had that conversation a minute ago.
I was trying to see if the prosecutor actually said about for parole. I didn't know.
He has nothing to do. None of us have anything to do. Listen to my words, because I already said this. None of us have anything to do with parole. You go to prison and we're done. I'm done with your case. Mr. Nichols is done. Ms. Perazzo's done. You get your 5 years. They determine when your parole eligibility is. They determine how you behaved and whether or not you get paroled when you come up for that eligibility, which we already talked about. None of us can tell you that. You could, if you go and act up in prison, do the whole 5 years. You could make eligibility the very first time you come up if you get in there and do right. I can't know that because I don't know how you're going to act when you get in prison.
I mean, that's not really me as far as the case goes. Me actually getting caught up in a problem and fighting back comes me like trespassing to me and whatnot.
They've charged you with assault on a peace officer. Either you plead guilty to that or you go to trial.
The initial arrest was camping.
Listen to me.
Like 5 years or so.
It doesn't matter if you feel like it's too harsh. Doesn't matter. That's what the state thinks the case is worth. That's what he's offered. And when he goes to trial, if he proves that you guilty, he's going to ask the jury for at least that or more. And then it'll be up to the jury to decide.
I'm really only asking questions because
I don't mind answering your questions. Here's the thing. I think you're playing games. Stop. Everything that could possibly be explained to you about your situation at this point has been explained. Everything. So we're done with asking questions. I'm going to ask you one more question and I need an answer. Do you want to take the 5 years or do you want to go to trial? while you're thinking on that, I'm also taking judicial notice of the court's file. Mr. Kane was previously examined by Dr. Capon, who found that he had no issues with regard to competency to stand trial. So I've already made that finding, but I just want to make sure for the record that there was no issues with regard to that. So, Mr. Kane, what do you want to do? It's time for you to answer. What?
That's why I'm really, it's a life decision right now. You know?
I know, it is. It's a big decision. I'm not saying it's not, and I'm not trying to talk you into anything. I'm really not. It's just the decision is what it is.
I understand that. It's a big decision. You know?
It is.
Where it goes.
You're absolutely right. I'm willing to do this, Mr. Kane. I'm willing to give you 2 weeks to think about it. But nothing's going to change as far as the offer. But I'll let you think about it. If you have any family you want to contact and talk about it, I'll give you a couple of weeks to do that. Do you want to do that, or do you want to make the decision today?
And my family kind of visitation. That's why I was trying to see about actually a house involved.
Did you hear my question?
That's what I was trying to figure out.
Okay. Do you want me to you want to take 2 weeks to make this decision, or are you going to make it now? Nothing's changing though. You're going to be right back in front of me in 2 weeks, and you're going to come out. We're not going to answer. I'm not going through all this again. Everything's been explained, but I will give you some time to think about it if you want. Sir? I'm sorry? You are? Okay. Thank you for being here. Is there something that you want to talk to you want to visit with him?
I paperwork with the housing boss. I wouldn't take the miss that point. That's really what it was.
None of that matters right now. You're in jail. You're looking at possibly going to prison. So you need to focus on where you are now and what your decisions are now.
So I wouldn't be capable of doing parole here.
Parole has to do, I don't know if you're confusing some terms maybe. Parole has to do once you're sentenced to prison. Okay? If you're talking about a bond, like the bond that's set on you right now, whether or not that can be lowered, that's for a different day if Ms. Barrazo files something for me to try to reduce your bond. But I want you to understand, nothing about this offer or what your decision is going to change. Whether you're in custody, out of custody, make appointments, none of that is going to change. All right, go back with the bailiff. I'm resetting your case 2 weeks. I've got too much to take care of.